What is up, and welcome to the Cinepax podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Casey. If you guys are new to the podcast, here I sit down with different creatives, whether it's in the music video field or filmmakers, and we sit down with them, talk with them, get to know about their creative process, get some tips and tricks along the way as well. Today, I'm doing a remote call with our guest. His name's Douson, and he is a sound designer for specifically music videos, I want to say. And he's been killing it. You guys have definitely seen his work. He's worked on a lot of the biggest music videos in the game. So I have Douson here. What's up, man?
What's up, bro? How you going? What an intro, man. Appreciate that.
So what have you been up to?
Man, I've been working lately, man. I know I haven't been posting on IG as much, but I've actually been posting a lot on TikTok, so you can check some of my shit out there. I post a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
You haven't popped up on my TikTok yet, so I could definitely see you blowing up there. What kind of content are you creating on the TikTok?
So like yesterday, I just started like my first like tutorial video. I just like went into Premiere Pro and showed people how I did like a stutter sound effect on like a Lil Mosey video I did. But for the most part, I just kind of post like similar stuff I've been posting on like Instagram, just like my like Pro Tools timeline, like just behind the scenes clip really. But I'm trying to get into like how I like actually record the sound effects and stuff. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Yeah. But yeah, besides that, just like I got a bunch of music videos right now that are currently in the works. Currently working on like a short film, a pretty cool short film as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it really.
Yeah, and I didn't really get into it, but I mean, some of the music videos that you've worked on some pretty big ones. I know you worked on recently, who I just had on, Adrian Purr, some of the things he did with like Lil Nas X. Looks like you've done some stuff with Trippy Red. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's a pretty, you've worked on a lot of big videos. I see lots of Kid Leroy stuff as well. So, are there any other big projects you want to talk about that you've worked on?
Man, lately, actually, especially the crypto space has been like going pretty crazy. Like, I didn't post this on IG. I actually posted on Twitter, but I had the chance to work on the Bored Apes and Tripster's collab recently, and that was like kind of dope as well. That got me like a shit ton of followers on Twitter. But like, yeah, the crypto space recently have been like going really crazy. It sucks that I can't like release a lot of the stuff that I've been working on yet, but like hopefully like maybe like in June I can start releasing it. So that'll be like pretty cool.
Very cool. So let's dive back in a little. Let's go to like the beginning. So what's kind of like your background and how did you start getting into this? Because you're located in Australia, right?
Yeah, Sydney, Australia. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got to link up with Olufemi. You know Olufemi? He does like those tutorials. I think he just moved to Australia.
Femi? Nah, I'm not familiar with him. His
I'll
name
have to
rings
link
a
you
bell.
guys up.
His name rings a bell. Did you do a podcast with him as well?
Yeah, I did a podcast with him. Yeah, and we just linked up with him out in at NAB in Vegas. He's a super cool guy. He does like sound. He does similar like sound design stuff too in his videos. But I definitely should link you guys up. He's always making YouTube videos and stuff. But
that's amazing.
What I was gonna say is basically you're in Australia. How did you start getting all these gigs that honestly look like they're like all like LA music videos and stuff like that? How did you kind of come up in this world and like?
Yeah. Man, I it's kind of a long story, but it's a podcast, so I guess we got time.
We got time. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So like honestly, I started off doing like everything, man. Like from shooting to editing, VFX. Like I was even like on set for a bit doing like sound recording. That's kind of why I got this like massive ass boom mic and shit from like those days. But yeah, I started off kind of doing everything, and then I met this one guy. He's an Australian dude called Lucas Lime. He goes by he changed his IG. He now goes by Lucs, Lucs. But he was doing a bunch of stuff for Rolling Loud, and I just kind of like I first met him actually at a Ray Shremmerd concert, like backstage and stuff. I used to do like photos and shit, and then I met Lucas there, but we didn't really exchange contacts. I kind of like DM him on Instagram like the next week. And then he kind of went on like a Rolling Loud tour. He was just doing a bunch of like Rolling Loud gigs. It was kind of like popping up like every 2 weeks. He was kind of part of their like creators team. And then he eventually got me on to do like sound effects for like the little 5-second videos he did. And then you probably know yourself as well, like every music video director that like does music videos have done something with like Rolling Loud like in the past. So that kind of opened me up to like a whole world of like music directors and stuff. And the very first person to actually hit me up for a music video, sorry, I DM'd him actually. The very first person to get me on a music video was Young Tata from Seattle. You probably know him as well. He
But yeah, Young Tata was on the podcast beforehand. So what was the video you did for Young Tata?
Oh man, I can't even remember. It was some small rapper from Seattle, but it was a really really cool music video. And then from there he got me on yeah, so then from there he posted that video, tagged me in all his posts and stuff, and then that's when kind of like a lot more video directors started seeing me like as someone who did like sound design for music videos and shit. And then from there it was kind of like, it kind of happened like pretty quickly. This all happened like in, I'll say early 2020, like as COVID was happening. From there, this guy by the name of Moshpix, he's originally from Washington DC. I haven't spoken to him in a minute, but I should probably tap in with him. But he got me on a video with this rapper called ASAP 12 or Y Gaddy. And then after that it was like Shababy, and then right after Shababy, this guy by the name of Nolan Riddle, is like one of the best film producers right now in my opinion. He got me on the video with Ian Dior, and then after that it kind of just exploded from there, I guess. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like every week after I kind of found out about you, I'd see you just continue. I think I found out about you pretty early too with like Young Tata.
Yeah.
But
Tata really helped me out a lot, to be honest, man. Like he really got me, like, I feel like he really like got a lot of eyes on me in a way. Like just tagged me in a bunch of posts and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely just seen like pretty much everyone just start using you for sound production and whatnot. So I mean, how did you feel about that, from going from, you know, like you were kind of doing everything to just only being hit up for sound? Was that something you liked, or were you kind of indifferent about it? Where were you kind of out like that?
Yeah, man. You know what's interesting, man? Like, so when I started doing, like, when COVID happened, I could only like do sound design, and I should have mentioned this as well, but I also like made beats. So like for a whole year I was like making beats and doing sound design, and then it got to a point where like I wasn't really making any money at all from like making beats, but I still really want to do it. I don't know what I was thinking, man. I thought I was gonna be fucking the next Metro Boomin or something. But like, yeah, it didn't really work out, and like sound design was like slowly starting to take over. Like that became like most of my like income really. And then I kind of was like, all right, bet, let me just like focus on sound design fully. So I kind of just stopped producing beats for like a whole month, and then honestly throughout the month, I feel like I got like way better in sound design overnight almost, just from just focusing on it 100%. So then after that, like I didn't really make beats from then. So yeah, that was pretty much it.
That's cool though. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of the stuff from making beats transferred over to the sound design, because I know there obviously is like, obviously just using like some of the tools for producing definitely like kind of fit in the same realm.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like I feel like with the reverbs and the EQs and stuff, just with like the effects and like changing the sound effects to make it like the way I wanted to sound, like that kind of helped me out heaps. Like I always tell people this, like sound design kind of really happened like naturally to me, because when I started like shooting videos and stuff, like, you know, when you first start shooting videos, you get into like the loophole of like, all right, let me shoot videos, all right, let me learn how to edit, let me go on YouTube, learn how to edit, learn how to do like VFX, learn how to color grade. And then when it came to sound designing, that shit kind of just like came very natural to me. Like I didn't have like a massive learning curve for sound design. I felt like I got the hang of it like pretty quickly. Like I was still shit when I started out, but it just came easier to me than like VFX or color grading or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that makes sense, that it kind of just felt right. Like, I mean, I can't say I felt the same way with like editing. Like I've always just enjoyed like editing, you know, whereas like the different aspects. So what program were you mainly using? I mean, you were saying you do stuff in Premiere, but what's like your kind of go-to, like, let's say like on some of these bigger projects, like looking here on your Instagram, I see like you did this one for the Gunna Roddy Ricch Too Easy. Like what was like what would you do that in typically?
So I did that in Pro Tools, actually, like Avid Pro Tools. It's kind of like the industry standard for film sound design. But I originally started doing it in like Premiere Pro. Like that's when that's when I first started in it. And like honestly, if you understand Premiere Pro and you feel comfortable in it, I feel like you can just do it in Premiere Pro. But after Premiere Pro, I was using Adobe Audition. I'd use that one for like a whole year. That's kind of like it's similar to Premiere Pro, but it's way, way better for audio editing. You have access to like all the effects and all the plugins you would in like music and stuff. And then eventually I just kind of switched to Pro Tools just because it was like easier. The sound designers like that I would work with would all use Pro Tools, and they would tell me you have to switch. And yeah, I just made the switch to Pro Tools. And honestly, like Pro Tools is way better than like Audition or Premiere Pro, just because it's more intuitive. It's honestly made for sound design. It's made for like filmmaking and this type of stuff. So like, yeah, that was pretty much it. Pro Tools.
For sure. You're using Pro Tools now, but like when you first started, you said you were in Premiere and Audition, but where were you getting these like sound effects from? Because obviously you need like a library of sound effects. So where did you kind of start with that? And then where did you kind of end up where did you start accumulating more sound effects?
Yeah, I was, so like for the most part, like when I first started, even till now, I'm using like freesounds.org. It's like one of the best like websites for free sounds. I'll give you a little trick as well. If you go freesounds.org and you filter through the sound recorders and click on like Zoom recorders or sound devices, you get like the way better quality sound recordings than the iPhone recordings. But yeah, so I'm using free sounds. I have an Artlist subscription as well. That's also dope. But for the most part, I've really been just recording all the sounds myself. Especially for the Foley stuff. I just find that like a lot easier. They're more original as well. Like no one will have like your sound effects that you record yourself. Like yeah, so I can't just accumulate like my own library over time and shit. But yeah, to answer your question, like freesounds.org is a mad place to start. And like if you eventually like want to splurge a little bit, you can get like an Artlist subscription. That's also dope.
Yeah, and I think recording your own sounds too is, especially even if you just get like a little like, you know, they have like task cams, they have like zooms, like they even have like that little $80 zoom. Even your iPhone with like a little boom mic or something, or like they even have like those mics you could plug in. Like if you could film like sounds on set or even through your camera with a Rode mic, like I think if you could record your own sounds on set, especially if it's a short film, you definitely want to do that. But freesounds.org is pretty clutch at the same time.
Yeah. I always like tell directors that as well. I was like, yo, if you have a chance and you have it available to you, like recording sounds on set would be like the most amazing thing ever. Just because like they sound more authentic. They don't really sound fake. Like it just makes my life like a lot easier as well, rather than having to Foley everything in.
Especially with footsteps, I feel like, because like if you have footsteps in that exact environment, like it's gonna sound so much more real than like as like finding footsteps online, because there's so many, like it's so hard. Like footsteps can sound so different. Like if the ground's wet, if it's loose gravel, if they're going from loose gravel to concrete, like it's just like
for real, man. The amount of times like the amount of hours and countless effort like I spend on footsteps just trying to get it right is like hella annoying sometimes, man.
Yeah, it's not fun. And then you can't use like the same sound effect twice, because then it just, you know, like where you duplicate the footstep, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah, man. I should really record some like my BTS, because like, man, there's so many days where I just be trying to like record like the perfect footstep. I'll be changing out my shoes as well, just trying to like put my feet, like just pretty much run on the spot, just trying to like record good footstep sounds.
Yeah, I know. I love those Foley videos that people do, like where they'll like, you know, do the Foley live with the like animation clips and they play it back or whatever.
Yeah.
Have you seen those or no?
I have. I've been trying to like, dude, really find like a new method on TikTok to show off like my sound design and how I like do it and stuff. But like, yeah, I saw one lady, she had like a whole studio, and she did the Foley for like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and she was like explaining how she like did the footsteps for that. But I mean, I don't know, maybe I should just like copy her videos.
I'll give you some ideas after this. I mean, I think one that would do pretty well is just like if you played the music video and then you played your timeline below it.
Yeah.
Just to show all the sound effects you have, that would do good.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I'll give you some more ideas, but I feel like I could see you blowing up on TikTok. So yeah, I would definitely, because then once you blow up on TikTok, then it just transfers all over to Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean,
I saw the stuff that you were doing too on TikTok. I had like a little glimpse of
Yeah.
it. You were killing it for like a bit, like very early on.
Yeah, 2020 is when I blew up, man. I was kind of killing it. Hopefully we'll make a comeback. I mean, just been busy with the studio, so I
Yeah.
haven't been making the most TikToks. I mean, we got some plans for it, but yeah, TikTok's wild.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But yeah, freesounds.org, back to that. I definitely, you can get some really good sound effects. I mean, you have to dig a little bit,
Yeah.
but you can really create like a full sound design from that, I feel like.
Yeah, for real. Like, man, there's honestly, there's a lot of like professional sound recorders as well that just upload their sounds to like freesounds.org. So if you really filter through it, you can find like some really high quality stuff there. Even nowadays, man, like the iPhones, especially, like the quality of the iPhone mic is like so insane that you can honestly get some amazing stuff just from like the iPhone and just upload to free sounds. It's a dope
For sure.
space. Yeah.
And then, I was going to mention as well, we have a pack that will be eventually dropped. Hopefully we drop it soon.
Oh yeah.
With some curated music video sounds. We got to promote that on the podcast. It's going to be pretty sick. We got to finish it up. It's honestly been on me. I've been busy with the studio, but
that's totally
I think in the
cool,
next
bro.
few weeks we'll be able to record some more sounds and get that finished up. But yeah, it's going to be sick. I'm hyped to drop that.
Yeah, same here, bro. I've been trying to like, I don't know, I've been looking throughout the last couple weeks, and I've been trying to like see whether I can like add more stuff or like just delete the sounds that I won't necessarily use. Like, I guess the good thing about like delaying a sound pack like this is that I kind of get a chance to like use these sound effects on like actual videos and see like which ones I will genuinely use and which ones I will like just not use at all. Like some of the whooshes, I feel like they sound pretty cool, but I think they sound like too big. Like I wouldn't necessarily like use them in music videos. Maybe for trailers and stuff, but yeah, that's been pretty cool. Just like
Gotcha.
just like seeing like what sound effects I will use and which ones I like wouldn't use and shit.
Yeah, I mean, it would be sick to do like a rough Premiere tutorial with you to kind of see like some tips and tricks for like basic music video directors. So like that's one thing I kind of want to ask you is wait, let me think of the question first.
No, you good.
So like what is something that let me phrase this right. What's something that a music video director, like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this, like, what sets bad and good sound design apart in a music video?
Oh fuck, yeah, good question. Man, a lot has to come down with like what the director wants and the edit as well. Like I feel like when the edit is really bad, like a lot of directors try to save it through the sound design, and at that point it's kind of like already too late. Like you can't really do that much to an edit by saving it through sound design. Like the sound design really depends on the edit. Like if an edit has like really good rhythm, it like the pacing is like perfect, it has like enough space for me to kind of like do big sound designs, and at the same time it has spaces for me to like keep things really silent and subtle for me to like build up into like a big whoosh or big riser type sound. Like those are the edits that really work well, like when it's like paced out properly, when it's like edited like really nicely and shit. But when the edit's kind of like everywhere, when you got slow motion and then you got like real life and then you go back to slow motion again, and it's just like really, really tough to work with like edits like that. So I feel like it comes down to like the edit, and it also comes down to like what the director wants, you know. Like sometimes like directors will just hear things in like Marvel movies, and they're like, oh yeah, I want that, like a massive like slow motion type sound, and then they go to like a drama film, and then they're like, oh yeah, I want that, I want like horror as well, can you like mix it all into one? And like a lot of times it doesn't work, because it's like you're kind of like clashing the genres together, like having slow motion and then making it suspense and then making it happy, and then kind of just like clashing like different moods together. That doesn't really work at times. But I feel like for good sound design, it comes back to like good editing at the end of the day, to be honest with you. I don't know if that was like a good response, but
no, I mean it's solid. I mean, so like, definitely the editing has to be there for you to actually add sound design. Like it has to. So like, what are some problems that you, aside from the editing, like if you see other directors doing their own sound design, what are like some problems that you see, or some things that you feel like really are like that you're just like, that's some pretty bad sound design? Like, where
mainly, all right, so like bad sound design, like I feel like it's just sound selection at the end of the day. Just picking the sound that works best and picking the sound that works in like a good environment. So like if you have like if you're in like an outdoor setting, you wouldn't use sounds that were recorded like indoor, because they just wouldn't really work properly. Same as the whooshes, like a lot of times people overdo their whooshes, like they make it too big when they can make it like a lot less subtle and just make it work better. But I feel like sound selection at the end of the day is like key towards like good sound design and stuff. Like man, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus here, but I heard like I've heard like a couple music videos where they just overdo their camera sounds. Like they just put like a bunch of like camera clicks in, and it like doesn't work. It kind of sounds like the beat is like off beat. You know what I mean? So like
yeah, because I was gonna say that you don't want to compete. Like you want to add to the music video. You don't want to like compete with the music. It's supposed to add to the visual. It's supposed to like, I feel like sound design in music videos like almost like meshes like further pushes like the art of like storytelling with, it's like another tool that we can utilize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With music videos, but like you also don't want to push it too far as well, because like if your sound design, what I was gonna say too is I feel like one of the biggest problems is people don't like manipulate the sounds at all. They're not like slowing them down. They're not adding EQs. They're not adding like effects or reverb or anything like that. They're just downloading sound effects, leaving them at full volume, and calling it a day.
The drag and drop ones. That
and that's oh, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, my bad. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, so like I've even seen that with like some of these effects packs that have like sound effects attached to them, and people just leave the same sound effect like on it for everyone, and it's just like it's like with our packs we like to include a list of sound effects so you can pick what works best. But then the ones that just have the preset ones, it's just like everyone's music video is gonna look the same and it's gonna sound the same. So like it's a cool sound effect, but like it's not cool every single time like that transition comes on screen. It gets played out, and it's like too obvious that like you're using that pack, you know? Like I feel like
especially like with camera sounds, like I can't feel like everyone has like the same camera sound, and that's like YouTube camera sound, and then that's the first link they have, like it's just the YouTube camera sound effect, which is cool, which it works, but like at the same time like you can manipulate it a bit. Like you can kind of add reverb to it, you can EQ it to make like EQ out the highs to make it not as obvious, like make it more subtle and make it fit in the song more. But going back to what you said, like I kind of like what you said, like how like music video sound effects are supposed to like blend into the music, because I always feel like I'm like when you're doing sound design, you're kind of like the balance, the middleman between like the visuals and the song. Like you want to make your sound effects like sync up to the visuals and like help the visuals and the story as much as possible. But at the same time, you can't ignore the song. You got to make sure the sound effects work within the song as well. So like so like
you don't want to overpower the song, because like there's some people who are like playing, like, you know what I mean, like I'll play YouTube music videos while I'm cleaning my office, but you know what I mean, like I don't want to hear like you know, that was my best camera sound effect I could do. But you know what I mean, like where it's just like, you know, the camera flash every 5 seconds, like every now and then it's fine, but like I totally agree, it definitely needs to add to the video a little bit more. So a lot of the times directors are also having you do cut scenes as well, so like what kind of, so that's, I feel like where you really get to shine, because that's aside from the, whether it's an intro or an outro or a middle cut scene, what's kind of your thought process on that, and what are some of the tools that you use to create those and really build those worlds?
So like a cutscene, cutscene honestly is pretty much like a short film, like a scene out of a short film or like a scene out of a movie. So like with that, I kind of just approach it like how I would do it like in a short film. I kind of would just, when I'm focusing on cutscene, I would just kind of like ignore the whole music video and just kind of focus on what the director is trying to tell within that cutscene. Because a lot of times for cutscenes, when directors include it, they kind of want to use that cutscene as like something they would like pretty much make it like a movie or make it like a scene from a TV. So like I I was just trying to make like I would just use the sound effects to help them tell the story as best as possible. Like sometimes it doesn't really need sound effects. Sometimes it's just like a dialogue scene where they just want ambience and they just want me to clean up the dialogue. So then I would just like make it really, really basic and simple, because that's what helps tell the best story, just keeping it simple and stuff. But sometimes with cutscenes, like with one I'm working on right now, I got this one where the cutscene is like this guy gets in like a massive car accident, and like the car's kind of like flipped over and he's kind of like unconscious and knocked out. So like with that, I kind of want to make that cutscene sound like a slow motion scene. So like I'll put like a bunch of like big whooshes, big slow motions. I might put in like a heartbeat sound, like of his heart like pumping and shit. Might put in like a e-grenade sound, like you know those high pitched frequencies, like
yeah, like your ears are kind of ringing.
Yeah. So like with all those sound effects, the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to try to like make the car crash scene sound like as immersive as possible for like the audience. I want to make them feel like they're kind of experiencing the car accident for themselves. So yeah.
And then are you also doing the transition like out of the song, or sometimes the song's still playing in the background with like a low pass filter? And then like, are you also adding like, you know, like hits and whooshes to like, cause you know, there's always like that like whoosh or like riser that like basically gets you back into the song on the drop. Cause like, it's also like strategic where you cut in the song at the same time. I feel like there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So with the cutting into the song, I kind of prefer the director or the editor to handle that part. So for the most part, they would like do the cuts, like a temp cut themselves, and they will kind of add their own risers going out of the song, and then when they transition back in the song, they'll have like their own whoosh and stuff. So I like to just follow their guide on it, and kind of just like, if I don't like the sound effects they use to transition in and out of the songs, I'll just like replace that shit. But for the most part, I kind of like to keep it the way they had it, because like most of the times like the director probably loves the way they have it. So like I don't want to like change that much of it and like put the song in like a fucking different place than it is. I kind of just like to keep it the way the editor has it, really.
Copy. Yeah, that sounds good. And then are you still recording? It's been about 30 minutes. Is it still good? Cool. All right, dope. And then so how does that process work? So walk me a little bit through of what it's like. So like if someone wanted to start doing this and working with different directors, sound design, what's kind of the process like of like getting those files? What kind of files do they send you? And just kind of what that process is like working with some of these directors.
Yeah. So like I always ask for like a low res MP4 version, preferably like a picture lock version. I can get into it a little later, but when you send me like a draft version, that makes my life like so difficult towards the end of the project. But preferably, like I always ask for a low res MP4 version, and an OMF file or AAF file. And so what the OMF has and the AAF has, it pretty much has like all the stems that you use for your like edit file. So like if you're editing a video in Premiere Pro and you're putting like a bunch of sound effects everywhere, you're making a bunch of cuts to the song, you're like putting like effects to the song on your end, I will have all those effects on my end. So then I can kind of go in and just like finesse it a little bit more and like dial in on it a little bit more and like see like the exact place you had that sound effect and the exact cut you had that like the song at, and just kind of like fade in and out a little better. Just kind of like I pretty much have like access to your whole sound file that you did. So yeah.
Yeah, I've exported out OMFs before, and yeah, for sure. It's really cool that, so like even if a director, like let's say they kind of had an idea of what they wanted and they kind of got like a rough start, they can totally export that out, send that to you, and then you have access to everything. And you can basically like add on top of what they've done, or, you know.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a mad way to collaborate, actually. Like a really, really good way to collaborate, because like a lot of times directors are like really attached to like what they've done. So like, and fair enough. So like they kind of love the sound effects that they use. Sometimes they even recorded like their own sounds that they want in the video as well. So with me, it's kind of like cool that I can like see that they see like where they had those sounds and have the exact same sounds that they use. So I can just kind of like mix in their sound effects to my sound effects a little better and stuff, and incorporate the stuff that they had on their timeline into my timeline. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's That's definitely a good tip there. So, in Adobe Premiere, are there any of like your go-to like plugins or anything that you would recommend people to check out and use when they're starting like sound designs? I mean, we said like EQ. I think EQ is like one of the most common ones to use. Are there any other like tools or anything that people should be using when doing sound designs for their music videos?
I'll give you some tips here and there. So with Premiere Pro, like one thing you can do is just literally go to the audio effects panel, because there's not really that much effects. I think there might be like probably less than 50 effects in total, and just literally play around with every single effect there. But some effects that I like, some of my go-to effects I always use, like when you're recording Foley sounds, so like literally like picking up like AirPods, or for example, or like footsteps, make sure they're always in like mono, because you want those at the center of the like your stereo output type thing. So how you put them in mono, an easy way to do it is to go to your stereo expander and dial that knob all the way to narrow, and that should like put everything to mono. Another cool effect is the convolution reverb. Like that makes like your sound effects sound like in certain places. So if you want your sound effects to sound like, if you're in like a subway, for example, and you want your sound effects and your Foley to sound like they're in a subway, then put the convolution reverb on and change it to like the subway preset. Same as if you're like under a bridge, like you're in a car scene underneath a bridge, just put that preset to like underneath a bridge. I think there's literally a preset called like Endless Tunnel under a bridge in like Premiere Pro, which is dope. Yeah, there's like a lot of other ones. If you want to like turn up a sound but you're scared of it getting too loud and peaking, use the hard limiter, put that to like -1, and that you can pretty much turn up the sound however you like, but it won't like peak at all. It will just like compress the sound really, really badly. Yeah, what else am I missing? There's like a bunch of like modulation plugins as well that makes you sound like a robot if you're like into that type of stuff. Yeah, you just really got to like play around with it.
Yeah. There's a lot to play around with. Yeah, I like, my favorite like go-to is like just always to slow it down. Like I feel like that just changes the total sound of it. But I don't know. I'm no sound design expert.
Like the Premiere Pro time stretching one is really, really cool. Also like the pitch shifter as well. I feel like probably the easiest way you can change your sound effects to make it sound different to everyone else is just pitch shifting it, really. Just like putting the pitch up 1 or 2, or putting it down 1 or 2. And that could also change the mood of your sound effects as well. Because like sometimes like whooshes sound too happy, they sound too exciting. So one thing you can do to make it sound like more like suspenseful and more like thriller type is to like just lower the pitch by like 3 or 4. And that will like make the sound lower and make it like, just make the mood to like match the mood to like what you want. So yeah, pitch shifting is probably like my go-to thing actually.
Yeah, and I think the rate stretch tool actually does do pitch shifting, but you can actually when you right click and you go to speed duration, and then you actually like type in 150, you can actually click maintain audio pitch, and then it won't affect the pitch. But if you just drag it, if you hit R on your keyboard and you drag it, it changes the pitch. So if you go slower, it makes the pitch lower. So it's kind of like a ooh.
Dude, so, that's actually amazing, man, that Premiere Pro has that, because Pro Tools doesn't actually have that. Like I have to do like a massive loophole just to like get that effect to like change the stretch the sound without changing the pitch. So like it's actually dope.
So it has that. It takes a second to like load, because I only know that because I did that YouTube video on how to do the music video effect, like where they're performing at like double speed and then they're in slow motion like performing like this. So then you can export the song. So I'll export the song, I'll speed it up to 150 and I'll click maintain audio pitch, and then it's like they don't sound like chipmunks, you know what I mean? It's just fast.
That's
Premiere has that built in.
Premiere Pro can do that. You honestly can do like everything you want in Premiere Pro. Like obviously it's harder to do it in Premiere Pro, but like if you really like stay patient and get creative with it, you can do some amazing sound design in Premiere Pro. Like you don't really need like Audition or Pro Tools and stuff. When you want to get more advanced and stuff, I guess you can dive into Pro Tools, because it's better for like mixing and blending sounds together. But
you can also do your basic stuff in Premiere, and then like you said, export the OBJ or not OBJ. That's a 3D file. The what is it?
The OMF.
OMF, yeah, the OMF file, and then you could take that into Pro Tools, because I've done that for short films and like scoring and all that kind of stuff. So one thing I don't think we got into is, why do you think it's a good idea to add sound design to a music video?
Yeah. Well, okay, like there's should I get into it? Actually, there's like a hub. So like a lot of people who follow me are like producers and engineers as well, and they kind of come from the background that they hate putting sound effects on their songs. Because like imagine someone spending hours mixing a record and producing a record for some sound designer to come in and just put fucking effects everywhere, and it kind of like messes up the song. But there's like also another sector of like producers and engineers who love that aspect. They're like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing, like you can do something like that. So like but like with sound design in music videos, for me personally, I feel like it adds to the visual more so, and it helps to tell the story that the director wants, or like that the editor wants, really. And a lot of times it can help beef up the music video in a way, like especially with like a lot of transitions. There's a lot of editors that don't really have their transitions quite right, and the transitions don't really hit that well. So if you just add like a simple whoosh to it, it could really help like sell the effect a little more. And for films especially, I feel like sound design is like crucial as fuck. It makes you feel like way more immersed into the film. It just adds to like help sell like the visual effects, help sell like the story and what you're trying to tell, and it adds to like the characters mood in a way. Like it makes you feel like immersed within the film. Like I mean, try watching like a Marvel film without the sound effects and just the dialogue. Like you probably wouldn't have any idea like what's going on and stuff.
Have you seen those like TikToks, like where they'll like either like in music videos or like they'll do like films and they'll strip the sound design and just have the dialogue, and it literally sounds like so bland. So I mean, I totally agree. I can't see where the producers are coming from, but then again, at the same time, I feel like that's just to be expected on YouTube. Like it's only on YouTube. It's not on Spotify. It's not on Apple Music. So they still have their clean version. Like this is for the director and the filmmaker. You know what I mean? This is their take on that song. So I feel like they have to kind of get over that. Like, you know, it's a new piece of art. You know what I mean? It's taking the, what's it called, to a whole nother level. So,
yeah, pretty much. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like nowadays, especially, a lot of people want to make movies. Like, a lot of their treatments are from like movies and like TV shows. Like, they're not really specifically from like different music videos. Like, at the end of the day, like a lot of directors want to make movies and they want to tell stories. And sound design just adds to the story, and it helps tell them that story in a way. I guess it kind of like makes the music video a little bit more high. It makes it feel like it's a little bit more high budget and high end and like better quality in a way, having like sound design tell the story, I guess.
For sure. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I definitely think I feel like it became like a really big trend, probably like, I feel like it's always been around, but I feel like it's at an all-time high right now. I feel like probably every music video you watch now has some form of sound design. I mean, one thing that I've seen a lot in like the Bay Area type of scene of music videos, I don't know if you've ever done this one, but it's like, well, they'll flip the beat at the end, and like the beat will kind of be like reverbed or like reverse, and it'll have like some kind of like beat flip.
Yeah, I see that. That's dope. You know, like man, one thing I always like think about, like a lot of the producers who like don't fuck with the sound effects at all. Like for me personally, it's like, how is that different from like a DJing reversing the sounds and like scratching it on turntables and stuff? Like back then, it was probably like frowned upon as well. Like a lot of producers didn't fuck with how like DJs were just reversing sounds and like scratching them and shit. But nowadays it's like normal now. Nowadays people just call that the like remix or something. But yeah, that's
it's no different than a remix, but it's also like the directors, like what they want. You know what I mean? To like pair with the visuals. So
for sure. Yeah.
So what do you think your most used sound effect is? Like, what's your go-to? Like, if you had to pick 5 sound effects that you could only use for the rest of your life, what 5 sound effects are you gonna pick?
All right, fuck. The camera one, obviously, like the generic ass camera one, even though every person has that sound.
Sick.
That's one. Probably a basic whoosh. You always need a basic ass whoosh sound. Yeah.
Yeah, and you could manipulate these all sorts of ways.
Okay, so we're doing that now? Okay.
No, I mean you could. I'm just saying, like if you have that whoosh, you could totally like, you know, like you would be able to use it in all sorts of ways. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Damn, that opened my mind to like so many possibilities now. All right, then I will take a gunshot sound then. Because with a gunshot sound, you can also reverse that and make that a riser if you add reverb on it.
Ooh, that's a 2-for-1 right there.
Yeah. And if you get really creative with it, you can like add like a little more bass and like turn that more into like impact sound, like a massive boom sound. And if you get rid of like all the highs, so yeah. Number four, man, probably a car driving past. You can also turn that into a whoosh as well. You can, if you stretch that sound out, you can actually turn it into like a tone, like a cinematic tone if you stretch the sound out. So like, yeah, I'll say a car drive by. And then last one, man, I feel like this is cheating, but I'll probably use my voice. Is that cheating?
No, yeah, you can't do that. It's got to be a pre-recorded sound.
Fuck. Last one. One that I always use. Damn.
I feel like you use the fire a lot.
Yeah, that's true. But I was just thinking, I can manipulate the whooshes and the car drive-by to like make it sound like a fire. But I would say the last one is probably, you know the magic glowing sound? You don't know? It's the high-pitched magic glowing sound, like that.
Nah, you'll have to send it to me. I want to plug these in. I want to make a little promo of all these sounds.
Yeah.
So.
I'll send it to you, but I'll probably use that one because you can manipulate that one to make it sound like E-grenade, like the high-pitched frequency ringing. Yeah, so I'll probably say the magic glowing sound. That's
all right.
I would say that's my favorite sound out of all the sounds, the magic glow sound.
All right, sick. Fire, dude. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's some good input there. I mean, just showing people like how, you know, like what are some of the go-to sounds to do. But yeah, I mean, have you ever worked with Mikey Rare? I feel like I think he does most of his stuff. I'm gonna have to
Mikey Rare.
link you up with him.
No, I haven't actually.
He's a director. He did this one. I wish you could have did the sound design on it. It's pretty crazy. I'll send you the video. He did like a whole like World War II kind of like, he was like had someone in the trenches. He's gonna be on the podcast soon, but yeah, it would have been sick to because like just like even like the sound design in war movies, you know, like where like a grenade goes off, they're disoriented, they can't like hear, and then it's like going speaker to speaker. And
then, like, the e-grenade sounds. Yeah, dude, I should have a crazy story about war movie, man. Like so one of my first like deep introductions into like sound design was do you know the movie Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it is a really good movie. So like I remember like when I first started getting into sound design, like I don't know how, like some this lady I worked with sent me this link to like an event where the two sound designers, Matthew McKenzie and Robert McKenzie and Matthew Wright, the sound designers who did Hacksaw Ridge, they held like an event where they broke down like how they did the sound effects for like Hacksaw Ridge. And that was like my first time where my mind was fucking blown. Just like watching these guys like break down how they did the sound effects for Hacksaw Ridge and like all the elements and how they recorded their sound effects and stuff. That was like my first like deep introduction into sound design and made me feel like I could like, made me like really want to do it, I guess. Like that moment right there.
Yeah. That's dope. Yeah, I mean, even in like film school, I remember like doing a lot of, like they would make us do like a lot of Foley and stuff. And like, it was kind of like, was some of the first things. It's just like really like even just going to an environment, like going to like a grocery store or like a restaurant and just listening to all the sounds that you actually hear. Like there's a lot of exercises you can do like that to like, it's interesting because like there's so much like you hear, like even outside, like you don't even realize how many sounds there are until you're actually wearing a pair of headphones with like a boom mic outside, and then you hear how many sounds there are because like you hear like construction off in the distance, you hear like a dude working on his house over there, you hear like a dog barking, you hear planes overhead, birds chirping,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
subtle wind. Like there's so many elements that go into like a sound design to make something feel real.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I remember my first time like recording sound. I was like, holy fuck! Like I thought my street was quiet. I thought I lived on a quiet street until I like recorded sound. Like then I was like, wait, I didn't realize I lived next to like a busy ass road just a mile away. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's the same with filming, I guess too. Like you don't realize how much stuff you could like film or how much is involved until you get behind the camera.
For sure, yeah. But yeah, I mean, even with our new film location, it's a little loud. We're right next to the airport, but it's not that bad. But yeah, I'll actually get some airplane sounds for the pack since we're right near there. We're literally right where they take off, and we're right by a train too. But that thing's so freaking loud.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's loud. You hear the train. The airplanes aren't that loud from the building.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I bet it would be. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But most of your
That's awesome though.
Yeah. Most of your clients would be
what
like
saying?
shooting music videos though, weren't they? So like they wouldn't really have
music
to do
videos, but we've been getting some commercials. So I mean, they just have to be mindful of, but like in LA, like people have like, you know, you can get sound blankets, you can hold for sound. There's a lot you can do. You can block off sound. So but yeah, so what can people be looking forward to from you? I mean, you said you're on TikTok now for some breakdowns. We got the pack coming soon. Hopefully we can do a tutorial with that. So be on the lookout for that. And then, yeah, what else do you have coming up?
Man, yeah, besides like music videos, and a bunch of like stuff in like the Web3 space, I've been thinking about like making my own NFT collection for like the longest time, like making like 99 sound packs, and each sound pack has like, I don't know, maybe like a 1 gigabyte of sounds from like every music video that I worked on. Like I've been thinking about like doing that, but we'll see how that goes. But what else do people have to look forward to? Man, probably just like a bunch of commercials and like music videos that I've done. It sucks because a lot of them are like shelved right now, and a lot of them like aren't gonna be releasing soon, but hopefully within the next month, hopefully like by June, I will like start releasing some stuff. I know I haven't posted on IG for like a minute, but yeah. But like,
good.
Yeah. You can
Sounds
follow
dope.
me
Yeah,
on like
people
TikTok or something, or start out my TikTok. I'll be posting a lot of stuff there.
I'll link your TikTok and Instagram down below, and then yeah, I'll for sure tag you on TikTok when I chop one of these promos up. But yeah, that sounds good. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, make sure to leave a review on iTunes. You can, and make sure to share it to your story. Let us know you're listening. Make sure to tag Cinepax, tag Tyler Casey, tag AyoDouson on Instagram. And yeah, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Nah, man. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me.
Before, you know about that what?
Sorry, what's up?
What's up?
Nah, Soundpacks is like the go-to source for everyone wanting to get into like the music video industry. So like you guys are like the pioneers of this space. So it's kind of like dope being on this podcast right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. We're gonna be able to collab. You know about that one sound effect? What's it called? The Wilhelm scream. Have you heard about that?
Nah, I might have heard of it. I just don't know the name of it.
Is it called the Wilhelm? Let me Google it. Wilhelm. Why do I want to say? Is that it? Yeah, it's called the Wilhelm scream. It's like it's a stock sound effect that has been used in a number of films and TVs since the beginning of 1951.
The Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, and I'm gonna play it for us right now.
All right, yeah.
Here, let's hear it. Let me unmute my. Oh, it's from this old movie. Listen to him scream. Here we go. That was it. You hear it?
Yeah, I heard that.
He's like, ah. And then I guess they've used it in like tons of other movies, like Indiana Jones, and like it's just became like this kind of ongoing joke. So you gotta download that and use it in something. Dude,
I should totally, yeah. I should just squeeze into a music video.
Yeah, bro, it'd be fire. It's like it's famous. So yeah, cool. I think that's a cool place to wrap it up. I taught you a little something, but yeah. If you guys enjoyed the podcast, like I said, leave it a review. I'm Tyler Casey with Cinepax. This is Ayo Douson. Check him out. He's got a lot of cool stuff. We'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.